heel turns. As I've mentioned before, a lot of what I do is evolutionary. It's testing, experimenting, coming to a conclusion, making adjustments from there, replicating the experiment if possible. If not, then I have to come up with another idea. What the legs are doing, period. Not period. It's like it with an asterisk. Is I'm thinking before that I'm thinking opposing forces, of course. Now I'm not. I'm thinking just straight hamstring from the left side, but the timing gets different. The timing makes it to where the ball has to be behind my hamstrings at all times, for the most part. For example, one thing that I noticed when I practice going into single support is that I can just hang out here. I'm not trying to hang out here. So as soon as I think oppose the ball this way, then I've stopped my movement. I've stopped the throw or the transition process, in which then I'm done. Like it's over. The ball keeps getting ahead of me and ahead of me and ahead of me because I keep stopping no matter what. So one thing that I had to do, much like the idea of practicing double support from this perspective, still thinking right side action through curling, is that I have to then think of this side as curling as well. It just so happens that the secondary nature of this position is that there's pressure in front of my foot, but it doesn't negate the action of the left foot, which is curling. So in order to take this turn, if I just hang out here and then I try to go, then it's not going. As soon as I try to curl, then it allows me to go. So in general, this is what it looks like if I try to oppose it only when I'm in the entrance to the toe turn and opposing the ball, trying to curl from opposing the ball. It gets left behind. I don't want it to get left behind. It's almost as if I trip over it. So instead, thinking of, I'm curling from right here. I'm curling now with my left foot. It's more of like this idea, which turns into curling. That's way easier. That's way more fluid. That feels more like a transition rather than I'm doing something in single support. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And then what's nice is that it doesn't feel like I'm crashing onto the catch, which is exactly what I'm looking for. I don't want to crash. I want to make it almost silent. So in turn, practicing the heel turn from this perspective, it's very difficult to do. And so the same idea that I have with my toe turn, I can practice 90, I can practice with it assisting me going into the next catch, or I can practice with it when the ball is just before 90, like 85 or 80. So I like the idea of this perception right here because it's an anticipatory idea. I'm not thinking necessarily that the pressure is here or the ball is here. It just so happens that because as soon as I think the ball is here, the ball is going to be at 90. So I want to keep thinking like it's in some type of anticipation to the next step. So I'll even do this from the toe turn. So I can do it from the toe turn. I'm thinking curling right now. I'm thinking from here, and I'm good, and I'm solid. And as we've discussed, I'm not at 270. I'm at approximately just after 220 or so. perfectly fine. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So let's do it one more time, and I'll stop at the catch. So wind one, wind two, exactly where I want to be. So from here, I can practice my double support exactly how I want to. My left side is then opened up, which is exactly what I want. I want to think external rotation with my left side, internal rotation with my right side. So I'm right here, and I'm thinking, because this thing is taking me this way, technically it's taking me this way because this side's a little tighter. I can make an adjustment, but I want to test it out right now. Is that as soon as I get into approximately 90, and I'm back into this general perspective where the ball is not yet at 90. I'm still thinking external rotation and then curling. And then I'm into that position there. So just to make the idea a little bit more clear, I'll just practice the heel turn from the first turn instead of practicing a toe to a heel, because I keep getting wrapped up. It kind of defeats the purpose of the throw, because you're not going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. The tensions here are wrapped around it. It should be assisting you and assisting. It should be going faster. It shouldn't be slowing down. So right here, just before 90, and I'm no winds, of course. I'm into my second turn approximately. So I'm thinking from here, and I'm good here, and I'm ready. I'm ready to go as soon, because I want to mold myself into the ball as soon as I get into single support. So as soon as I get to here, and I have this perspective, just like in Y, or just like in Chintway, I can get into it, right into it, right there. It's still gonna take a little bit of time. I haven't practiced heel turns very often, or at all. This is the first day doing it, but that's my next, because I want to keep molding myself into the ball in single support, and that happens as soon as the heel gets down. Still thinking Y, still thinking Chintway. Hamstrings are the shit. They're the primary movers, and being able to mold myself into single support. I think that's about it. So once again, another example of how I don't contradict myself. I don't think about contradicting myself. That doesn't do you any good. It's not helpful. It's just more so, it's like, what if? What if I can do it from this perspective? What will happen? You know, it just so happens to be contradictory, but who cares? It's testing. You're working, and you're not just following some cookie cutter thing, and then as soon as something goes wrong, it's like you freak out, you start crying, and this and that. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with, can I replicate it? If not, then I want to keep testing. I don't want to just be married to the same thing over and over again. That's not helpful. So, a good example of how to not be stagnant.